So here's the first idea of cell theory. So write it down. If it's right, you got it right. Yes, I want you to know this. Key learning target. Cells are the basic unit of life. Write that down. And in parentheses down here, cells are made of molecules. And molecules are made of atoms. But the atoms and molecules are not alive. Cells are alive. That is profound, okay? So the basic unit of life is the cell. Write it down. If you need to pause it, do so. And let me show you what the pictures are. These are two names of scientists, who came up with these ideas, right? Schleiden and Schwann. They're both German, Schleiden and Schwann. They didn't really work together, but they did communicate, and they came up with these first two ideas together. Schleiden came up with the idea that basic unit of life, primarily involving plants, and Schwann said, wow, same's true of animals, and so plant and animal cells. Now, this is a photograph of cells that, it has the nucleus, is that little blob in there. That's going to be something that we're really going to focus in on, what goes on with the nucleus. That's where the DNA is in each of the cells. And then they're bound by a membrane. A membrane is like a little fatty bubble, these cells that have fats in them, so they kind of stick together. It works. It's amazing, but I don't want to get into it right now. So you got these little bubble or a little blob bag containing, and then you have this other membrane going around the nucleus, and it holds the DNA. And the stuff outside of the nucleus is called the cytoplasm. Okay, so we got some vocabulary here we're going to be seeing again. I'd like you to say it out loud. Say nucleus. Nucleus. Say nucleus. Boom. Okay. Say cell membrane. Membrane. Boom. You know that word. We're going to practice this more, but here's the first glance. Okay. Say deoxyribonucleic acid. What? That's what DNA stands for. You will know that word by the end of this unit. You'll go, oh, DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Not this lesson today, but this is coming up. That's where we're heading, like I mentioned. Okay, so in the classroom, if I was teaching this, what I'd do is have you, take a little scraping inside your cheek with a toothpick, and not scraping it hard, but just rubbing it, because the cells fall off really easy, and put it on a slide, and you can look at your own cells, and you stain them with iodine. They look just like that. This is what it looks like when you look at your own cells, or at least the cheek cells, under the microscope, right? And then you have this other kind of thing, which I think you probably saw in sixth grade. I know I showed my sixth graders. It's called a paramecium, right? It's a single-celled organism. So some living things are just made of one cell, the basic unit of life. It's alive, right? But here's the thing. The materials that the cells are made out of, even though they're really complex biochemistry, they're not alive. Molecules aren't alive. Atoms aren't alive. This coffee cup is a physical thing. It's not alive. But when you get them working together, wow, you have life. Okay? That is a pretty profound and deep idea. Okay? So cells are the basic unit of life. Number one. Number two idea in cell theory is all living things are made of cells. Okay, this again, Schleiden and Schwann were the two scientists who came up with these two parts of the cell theory. Here's the thing, some are single cells, like a paramecium, or this is something called a euglena. These are bacteria. You ever wondered what bacteria are? Well, they're much simpler kinds of cells than ours. We'll learn that next lesson. They're called prokaryotes instead of we're eukaryotes. More vocabulary, oh no! But it is. So bacteria is a cell, simpler than ours. The euglena is of the more complex type. These guys have a nucleus. These guys don't even have a nucleus, right? They just have the DNA in a ring. Okay, or they're multicellular organisms that are made of trillions of cells, like the narwhal or the oak tree. I mean, anything that's alive is made of cells. Okay? Now, I think it's kind of fascinating. I don't think it's going to happen in my lifetime. I might happen in yours. I don't know. I figure there's probably life on other planets somewhere in other star systems, and how we would find that, I don't know. But would it be possible to find something that's alive that isn't made of cells? Maybe. But on Earth, this is how it is. All living things are made of cells. That's number two. Number one is what? Oh, wait, what was one again? Say it, say it, say it, say it. The basic unit of life. Number two, all living things are made of cells. Okay, here comes number three. All living cells come from other cells through division. Okay? They multiply by dividing. I've always thought that's kind of funny. It's sort of like adding by subtracting. Well, they multiply by dividing. You start out with one cell, and what happens is it splits into two cells. That's cellular division. And the process we'll be getting into is the DNA inside of it has to copy itself, and so it has the equal amount of DNA going into each of the daughter cells, they're called. Starts with one parent cell, and it ends up making two daughter cells. And these steps here, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase, I'm in the way. We're going to look at those in more detail later on. This is kind of a preview of what's going to happen. So that third component came a little bit later by a guy named Virchow. He was a German scientist. And memorizing Schleiden and Schwann and Virchow, I'm not going to really insist that you memorize it, but I'd like you to see these are discoveries made by people, okay, and ideas that people put together that have formed the foundation of cellular biology. And still to this day, doctors and researchers and cellular biologists, these three ideas are the foundation of modern microbiology, okay? And so, pretty important stuff.